All right, now we're done with the first example. We have this button that we're supposed to do something with it to draw things on the screen. So if I double click on it, it'll allow me to enter the code for drawing. Before I draw, let's take a look at the form that we have. This is your form. This form is like the screen that we will draw in it. It has positions, coordinates we call this. Just like you do in algebra, when you're drawing a graph or a line, you give it a starting point and an ending point, right? Here, you also have a starting points and ending points. All this are points on the screen, okay? Each point represents a pixel. So, where is my starting point on the screen? This upper left corner. Yani, in the graph, usually point 0, 0 is here, right? Here is my point in the computer systems. This is my 0, 0. So I am upper, and the upper left corner is 0, 0. What about this point here? This is the width of your screen. This is like X. And this is the height of your screen. This is like Y. So if I want to draw a line from this point to this point, I have to give it the X1, Y1, X2, Y2. First, I'm just going to show you how to draw one box. Then later on, I'll show you how we use loops to draw multiple things. All right, so we click on the draw again. Let me move this away from the screen so you can see where I'm going to draw. Okay. So click on the button again. First, I have to define an object called graphics, and I call it G. This is similar to a random number, the random number that we use in our similar to the random number that we use in our box, in our previous example. So it is a utility class that allow me to draw things on the screen. Then I say G equal. We use the keyword this. What does this mean here? I am inside what? I'm inside a form, right? So when I say the word this, I'm referring to the form that I am in. You got the idea? So, بدل ما أقول مثلا form 1, here I use the keyword this. So when he say this dot, it means I'm referring to things that belong to the form. Alright? So this dot what? في شيء اسمه create. There's something called create graphics. Alright? Now, I'm ready to use this thing called G, which is a graphic object, to draw things on the screen. What can you draw? You can draw many things. You can draw lines, you can draw rectangles, you can draw many things. Let's see how it looks like. If I type in G and dot, and then type in draw, notice all these things that are available for me that relates to what? Drawing. So for example, if I wanted to draw a line, I can select draw line. If I wanted to draw a rectangle, I can select draw rectangle. Let me start with line first, then I'll change it to rectangle. We start with line. Now, when you're drawing, when we want to draw on the board, عادة what do we do? When I want to draw on the line on the board, what do I do? First, I select the pen, right? The color of the pen that I want to use. Then I give it a starting point and ending point, right? So it's the same thing here. Look, it says, do you want to draw a line? You have to tell me what pen do you want to use and what is the first point and the second point. The first point is x1, y1, and the second point is x2, y2. To make it easy, if you just type in PENS, pens, and then you can select the color. So if you want, what color do you want? Blue. I like blue color, so I'm going to select blue. Then I have to give it the starting point and ending point. Remember, where is the starting point on the screen? Upper left corner, 0, 0. So if I want to say, I want to draw from a point 100, this is my first point, like x1, y1. Then to the second point, which is x2, y2, which is, I'm going to say, for example, 300 and 300. Okay? So my program does what now? First, it creates this graphic object. Second, it draws one line. Where does it draw this one line? From this point, my starting point, to this point, the ending point. Okay, I'm going to draw also something else at the same time. Let's draw a rectangle. So let's say G, draw rectangle. And here, again, I have to use the pen. And again, let's say use, what color do you want? You want red, let's say. Okay. When you draw a rectangle, it's different than a point, drawing a line. When you draw a rectangle, you still have to do what? You still have to give it a starting point, which is x1, y1. So if I say x1, y1, here we draw the line at point 100, 100. Here I'm going to say 150, 150. But in addition to that, with a rectangle, you have to give it the width and the height. The width and then the height. طيب. How big is you want your rectangle? إذا بدك تعملوه مثلا 100 pixel by 100 pixel, so you just say, let's say 100 pixel by 150 pixel. Okay? بده يطلع عنا هذا متطاول يعني rectangle going, the length is higher than the width. So now I'm drawing two things. One of them is a line, and one of them is rectangle. So the first, with the rectangle, the first 2 points are what? My starting point, which is x1, y1. With the second one, my starting point is what? With the rectangle, what do we have? We have the width and then the height. All right? Let's run it and see what happens. Draw. I have the rectangle and I have the line. Do you see this position here? So now I want to move him to a different place. This is point 100 and 100, right? So if I move him up, I wanted to move them up. What do I reduce? Do I reduce the y value or the x value if I want to move it up? Now, if we want to move it up, which one do I reduce? The y value. If I want to move it to the right, which one do I increase? The x value. So if I want to move this box up here and to the right a little bit, I reduce the y, but I increase the x. Okay? How do we do this? Here, do you see this? 150, 150. Instead of that, we say we're going to increase the x. Let's make that 200. But reduce the y to what? We're going to say 50. Okay? All right? The starting position. Now let's go ahead and run it again. And then you'll see that the line is still there because we did not change the line. I changed only the rectangle. All right? Now, if I go back, if I want to change the size of this rectangle, it doesn't look like, right now it's notice the height is bigger than the width. If I want to make it a square, what do we do? They make them equal. If we say 100 and 100, the width is equal to the, if we say the width is equal to the height, now it becomes a square. It's not a rectangle. Do you see that? Square. All right. Let me pause for a minute here. All right, so now the next task is that we're going to draw, I'm going to comment this out, we don't need that. We're going to draw 50 rectangles. Now we can do it with copy and paste, but this is cumbersome and very hard, and it's not the right way. Our topic is about loops, so why can't we just do loops to do that? So what I'm going to do, just like the previous example, you can copy and paste if you want. Let's just copy and paste what we've done here. Okay, I define, except for the clear items, okay? I'm going to copy all of this, control copy, and then put it inside the program and the button. Delete the list item clear. Okay? Delete the list item that clear. Alright, this is my loop that I had before, but instead of doing something and putting it on the screen, in the list box, what do we want to do? We want to do the draw, right? Sahalala. Right? Inside my loop, what should I do inside my loop? I want to draw. Should I do it from the beginning so you understand instead of the copy and paste? Yes. Alright, remove the copy and paste. Let me show you how it's done from menu. Okay, so first I'm going to create another loop. We define a counter. So we say int count equal to 1. Then I create my loop. We say while count is less than what? We want to draw 50, right? So we say less than or equal to 50. Okay? And then I give it the beginning and ending of my loop. So here is my beginning and here is my ending. Why did I put this inside my loop? Because I want to repeat this 50 times. I want to draw my rectangle 50 times. You got the idea? So all I did while count is less than 50, draw this type. If we just keep on that, the count variable value does not change. And if it does not change, what happens? You're stuck inside that loop. So we need to add 1 to count. So remember we say count plus plus. So this will add 1 to count. It's like the same as saying count equal count plus 1. But this is like a shortcut. So we say count plus plus. So now this program would run. I'm going to run it for you and see that you'll see that what you're going to get only one box. Let's see why. If I draw, the program works, but there's a problem. What is the problem? You're always drawing in the same position. So you're drawing boxes on top of each other. So you don't see the difference. Alright? So how do we make it so we change these box location? One way to do it is that we make these x1 and y1, we make them variables. And every time we're inside the loop, we change the value of those. Alright? Let me show you. If I define another variable, x1 equal to, what is the value of x1 here? We start with 200, right? So I'm going to say that 200. And then I define another variable, int y1 equal, what is the value of y1 here? 50. Alright? Now, I don't use this anymore. What do we use? We use x1, and here we use y1. You got the idea? Type. What do I do inside my loop? Now, I did that, but that doesn't fix the problem. Why? Because x1 and y1 does not change. And if they do not change. And if they do not change, you're drawing the box over in the same spot. So what do we have to do? Inside the loop, I have to change the value of x1 and y1. Alright? So how do we change the value of x1 and y1? Just simply say x1 equal x1 plus some value. If you say 2 for now. 2 means what? You're moving the box by 2 pixels. If you make it only 1, what happens? If you make it 1, it means that you're moving only 1 pixel. So you don't see spaces in between them. So you'll see like a solid shape. And the same thing with y. I'm going to say y1 equal y1 plus 2. So now, the first time x1 is equal 200, y1 is equal 50, but the next time they change. So this becomes 202, this becomes 52, and so forth. We do it 50 times. What you will get a shape like this, okay? Like a diagonal. Watch what happens. When we do a draw, you get a different shape. Do you see these spaces? Do you see those empty lines between? Why do you have empty lines? Because we add 2. Go ahead, change that, and instead of 2, make this 4 and 4. You will get different shape. Why? Because I increased the spaces between each time I draw. You got the idea? Alright, I'm going to pause the video to give you a chance and try it, okay? If I make this 100, how many boxes we draw? Depending on the condition. In this case, it will be 100. Watch what will happen. Now I'm going to make this bigger, because if you make it small, you'll see them coming out of the screen. So now you do draw, you'll get different shape. Alright? Notice, Kifu, do you see how it is moving like in a diagonal, right? طيب, how I can, طلعوا يا صبايا, I can move it up, or I can move it down, or I can move it the other direction. مثلا, if I want to مثلا make it go this way, okay, farther this way, what do? You make x bigger than y. For example, here we're adding 4 and 4. But if I add مثلا 2 to y and 4 to x, notice what will happen. Or make it bigger, 6 to x. Notice what will happen now. If I run it, do you see it moved? You got a different shape, first of all. Yeah? And it moved sideways. Yeah? If you want to move it toward you more, باتجاهكو أكتر. Which one would be bigger? Well, y, right? So if I make this is 2 and this is make it 4, okay? Or let's make that 1, only 1, the x. Yeah. All right. Now, if we run it, make it bigger first, and then do draw. You get a different shape. Yeah. So you're getting 3D shapes. You can animate it. Do you want to see how you animate it, or you don't want to? You want to animate it like a screensaver? How many times? We have many minutes. Okay, this one, just watch me. And then if you want to do it, you're not responsible of it. Just watch me. You can do it. I'm going to record it, and then you can do it at home. Okay, because I'm just going to do, because we have only a few minutes left. Okay. What we want, what we want to do, إنه بدي إياه يطلع مربع واحد. بصير يعني it's like growing. Okay, like a screensaver. طيب, how can we automate things? Using timers. Do you remember timers? So we use timers. Okay, let's take a look at the form, and then let's add a timer to my form. Alright, here is my timer. First, we need to, what do with this timer? We need to enable it. It is false, right? So I make it true. All I need to do, add a few codes, similar code. Here we don't need a loop here. Why we don't need a loop? Because the timer is a loop. Every minute, every tenth of a second is doing that. So all I need, few things from here. I'm going to take this, control copy, paste it here, control V, and I'm going to take the draw rectangle, control copy, and paste it here, control V. And I need to change the x and y, because they're not defined, right? So I'm going to take this, control copy, and put it here. And then I need to define x and y. Now, if I define x and y, to the example that we did, if you define them inside here, every time they'll become 0, so you don't see any difference. So where do we need to define them? We define them up above, at the class level. If you remember how we defined the last time, we defined it at the class level. So all I need to do here is say integer x1, y1, and then you can give them value. For example, equal, what was it, 200? And then this was equal 50. Okay? So I defined them in here. So now it returns the values. If you look in here, here is my, every time I am in the timer, I draw one line. Look what's going to happen. I'm going to make this is 2, and this is 2, maybe 4. Let's make it 2. Leave it 2 and 2. Watch what happens. Run it. All right. طيب, where does it stop? ما في عندي condition here. There is no while loop here. So what happens now? It just keeps on drawing. All right. What if you want to get a different shape? What do you change? You change. You make this is 4, for example. Now, or you can give it a different value. Watch what happens. You see it like it's coming to you, towards you, right? And then reduce this by 1. You'll see more. You'll see it's like it's going towards you. Oh, you make it. You don't need make it equal 0. Anyway, 1 is okay. It's coming towards you. All right. Clear. طيب, كيف إياها تروح مثلا بالعكس, يسار or يمين? يعني if I want it to go to the left, not to the right. شو بنغير؟ بدل plus شو بنعمل؟ minus. Watch what happens. Make it -2. And then start here, بدل 200 start at 400, so you can actually see the difference. Otherwise it will be out of the screen. Okay, so now run it. Watch what happens. It's going to the left. Yeah? Until it's out of the screen. Cool? This one still works. Because 2 things happening at the same time. You have the timer, and then you have the draw. And this one works. You can add to this one works also. Okay? We drew X. Okay, we're done for the day. Now this one you can watch the video because I did it kind of quickly, but it's simple. All you need to do, you define the variables. You don't have a while loop. You just do what every time you draw a rectangle, you change X and Y. Okay?